So facial expressions, as always, I've mentioned this several times before so far in these training videos. Facial expressions are so imperative when you're working with these kids because they signal exactly what you want from them, and they make the language that you're using so much more understandable, because the kids see faces every day. And a lot of the times kids understand that signal a lot more than they do the language. When babies are even very small, they've done studies that if their mother, just a baby's totally fine eating his lunch and the mom just like looks like this, then the baby starts crying, because he can sense that something's wrong. So kids are very sensitive to facial expressions, and that is a really important tool to be using during all aspects of working with them, but especially during reading. So like I said, keeps the child interested, engaged, emphasizes emotions they should be feeling, but also, like we talked about in the language facilitation strategy gestures, it can help encourage the child to ask questions, make inferences, and understand when you want something from them, right? So if you're looking at them like, then they know that she's asking me a question. And giving that like wondering or questioning or surprised face, like they know you're not saying anything, but you're surprised. And then they can start tying back, why is she surprised? And they understand, oh, it's because there's a bear in this cave and that's really scary. So using facial expressions throughout reading the entire book, eyes are wide open and you're smiling. This makes the child engaged because they know that you're happy, you're excited, you're here with them. By having your eyes opened, it signifies like she's awake, she's ready, she's looking right at me. And if they know that you're looking right at them and happy and engaged, it's going to increase their engagement with you. It's going to make them feel happy and excited, and it's going to make them want to be awake and paying attention as well. It's really easy to be nervous when you start doing this. If you guys have been in Rosa Parks before, I'm sure you guys can remember back to your first or second weeks when you first were reading those books and you're like, I've read a book when I'm babysitting before, but I've never had to do it to a group of kids or in Spanish maybe, if you're in a bilingual room. So even if you're nervous, fake it till you make it, smile, keep your eyes wide, pretend like you're relaxed and excited, because that's going to make the kids feel relaxed and excited. And that's the most important thing, because as we mentioned at the beginning of this lecture, the more excited they are, the more they want to read, the more language they're going to learn. It's a cycle. So some ways that you can use facial expressions is if something exciting or happy happens, like open your mouth or cover it like, oh my goodness. If something worrying or sad happens, like your brow is down, like I am so worried, like, oh, that's so sad. All emotions are over exaggerated, and if you think you're overdoing it, you're doing it right or not even enough. Practice in the mirror. When I was in sign language, we we had a deaf professor who would tell us like, you guys look dead, because we would be signing, and in sign language your facial expressions is your grammar, right? So if you're asking a question, brows down to signify like you're asking a question, or brows up if it's a yes no question and you're wanting an answer back from them. And a lot of people, when they're signing, they think in their head, they know I'm supposed to have my brows down when I'm asking like, where's whatever. But even though they think they're doing it, they're not doing it. And so our professor would always say, like, you guys look dead when you do that. Like, I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what you want. So go and look in a mirror a couple times with a book, and just practice. You can even just like download a PDF of a children's book on your computer if you don't have one with you, and just practice like looking at yourself in the mirror while you're making your facial expressions, so you can feel what you're doing with your face. And then if it helps, use the sticky note strategy, as we've mentioned earlier, write a note to yourself like, okay, here, like cover your mouth or open your mouth, or have, we're not on gestures yet, but in the next slide, I'll talk about like writing notes for gestures as well, just so that you know what you want your face to be doing and giving yourself that extra reminder when your brain kind of turns off because you're nervous, of what you wanted to do originally.